Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
All right, go ahead, Steve.
All right, Saad Awad, how are you doing today, sir?
Good. How are you, Steve?
Good. I'm doing really good, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You've got an excellent fight coming up here with Ryan Quinn at Bellator 178. But first thing I want to ask you is, are you going to miss going up to welterweight? Are you going to miss that extra 15 pounds?
You know what? I'm guessing they didn't announce it yet, and I don't know if I'm supposed to announce it, but we're fighting at a catchweight, so it's actually at 165. So I'm good. I'm good. I only have to cut not too much weight. I'm not killing myself to make weight. I mean, I'm not, cutting 3 pounds or 4 pounds to make 170, but I'm good. I'm making weight real easy. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I'm not focused on my weight cut at all for this camp. I think that's a mental advantage I have.
That is very good to hear, and yeah, that is news to me, so I guess we'll be breaking that in this story. But since it is a catch weight, what do you think that means going forward? Are you going to go back up to welterweight, or are you going to go down to lightweight after this?
I'm going to go back down to lightweight. I feel like I need to get myself a title fight, and I know I could do it at lightweight. I know, I came up short a couple of fights that I thought I won, but I had lost, and I made some adjustments, and I feel like, I want that belt, man. I want to eventually get it, so I'm going to start knocking down whoever I have to fight and then hopefully, get my chance to fight for the title.
Speaking of making adjustments, though, you went out there on that fight with Brennan Ward, and you two basically had a gentleman's agreement to drop any pretense of trying to grind and just stand and bang. Do you have any regrets about that, or are you happy with the way that it turned out?
You know what? Like I said before, I would hate to lose by decision that I thought I won. I hate losing that way. I mean, I feel like when I fought Patrick, I broke my hand, but I thought I still probably pulled out enough to win, and I didn't. And then when I fought Anderson, I thought for sure I won that fight, because I took him down every round, and we're going back and forth, but for the majority of it, I ended up on top except for the second round. So I thought for sure I pulled out a win, and I lost that fight. So I mean, nobody wants to get knocked out at the end of the day. But I think I'd rather get knocked out so it's proven that he beat me, like he really did beat me, than me go out there and lose and then lose half my pay over fucking a blind judge's decision.
No, I can't argue with that. In fact, I have a co-host on an MMA podcast who always says, never leave it to the judges. So it's pretty clear by the way you two were letting the fist fly. Neither one of you wanted to leave it to the judges. Yeah,
not at all, man. Not at all. And I mean, it sucks to happen what happened. It sucks what had happened. But, I mean, the only adjustments I would have made was not to brawl with somebody bigger than me.
But I did find the post-fight interviews interesting afterward, how basically Brennan Ward was like, you know what, I actually like this guy, and I didn't want to have to knock him out, but we agreed to do this, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, we both said we're going to go out there and bang, and then, and we went out there, and I felt like I caught him, and as soon as I caught him, he turned into a wrestler and started holding me. And then in my head, I was like, dude, I don't feel like going through this, 3 rounds. Dude, I thought we were going to bang. And he's like, let's do it. All right. But I mean, I didn't want to do it that way, but I wanted to, go out there and try to pick him apart because I knew I'd be faster than him.
And as I said to you before that last fight, I was like, you know what? You got the robotic broken hand and the plate in it, so who knows? Maybe you got more of the power of the punch, but on that night, he had it.
Who knows? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's a big boy, man. I'm going to have to see him. The kid throws hard.
But what about Ryan Quinn? What are your thoughts on him? I think some people might be sleeping on him a little because I double-checked his record to be sure, and he's actually undefeated in Bellator.
Yeah, I don't know how many fights he has in Bellator, but I know I think he won his last 2. I know they weren't both in Bellator, but I know he beat Waylon Lowe in Bellator. Waylon Lowe's tough, he's a tough dude. But yeah, I mean, I know he's game because I know Bellator won't put me against anybody that's not tough. I mean, if you look at the guys I fought, when I first started fighting Bellator, I think the combined record was like 90 something and like 3 or like 5 or something from the guys that I had fought. And then so, I don't fight scrubs in Bellator. Usually the guys that I fight are pretty, either they're known or they're known somewhere else, in Canada or, in Europe or whatever. And, this kid's probably not known in Bellator, but he is a jiu-jitsu coach at ATT. So he's obviously, has some credentials behind him.
Well, you might be surprised by this because I was myself, but it's 7 fights in Bellator for Quinn, going all the way back to Bellator 15 in 2010.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this dude's definitely been around for a while, but what's interesting about it is, like you said, he's obviously got a great record and he's a good coach with American Top Team, but it's like he picks up the wins in Bellator and then he goes elsewhere outside of Bellator and he loses. It's kind of like win-loss for him, so it's like he hasn't really put it all together all at once.
Yeah. Hopefully he puts something together when we fight, because I plan on going out there and scrapping. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a good fight. Whether he's the top contender or it's his first fight, or like you said, he's 7-0 in Bellator that nobody knows about, and he could be the dark horse coming into Bellator in the lightweight division. But at the same time, I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I'm going to do. And whether it was him or it was Chandler, I'm going to fight him the same way. I'm not I'm not going to make any adjustments. I'm going to go out there and fight the way I know how to fight, and the kid's going to be in for a fight.
That kind of leads to a question I wanted to ask you about Will Brooks, because it seems like things aren't going as well for him in UFC as they did in Bellator. So what do you think about that and the fact that you are still the only man to have ever knocked him out in Bellator?
I think he went to the UFC with a chip on his shoulder. When he was in Bellator, he won the belt, and then after you won the belt, it's like you're fighting the champ. So I don't care who you are, but if you're fighting the champ, it's the champ, whether it's Brooks or Chandler or whoever it is. They're the champ. So you kind of have that, like, oh shit, he's the champ in the back of your head. And, I think a lot of guys, went out there with that mentality, and he just went out there and did his thing and took it to them. So now he's coming into another organization, whether it's UFC or wherever he's at, and he's not the champ. And so guys are looking at him like, oh, he's just another dude. And they, nobody's afraid of him. And I'm not saying I was afraid of him, because I didn't fight him as the champ. And that's why the fights turned out the way they turned out. But I think going into another organization and not being the champ, he's just another dude, and they're going to treat him like another dude, and it's showing.
It basically means he's got to retool his whole game then and come in with a different mentality, drop that chip on his shoulder that you're talking about, and maybe if he humbles himself a little, it might change things for him in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, because he's obviously a good fighter. Just a matter of being mentally focused when he fights, because I personally think he's too good of a fighter to go out there and get submitted that fast. But he did fight a really good jiu-jitsu guy, so you can't take anything from Oliveira.
Maybe he just needs to stop fighting guys named Oliveira anyway, because that's 2 fights in a row where it didn't go well for him.
I didn't even think of that. You're right.
Exactly. So now that you're getting this chance to reset, readjust, and hopefully have a great performance against Ryan Quinn, what does that mean coming up now? You've talked about the lightweight title, and you want to get back in that picture. How soon do you think that would be coming to you?
Man, I haven't got a lightweight title fight yet, so I'm not holding my breath for that. But I am gonna bother him, and I'm gonna stay in the matchmaker's ear, and I'm gonna push just to keep fighting. That's why I was fighting at 170, because it was like, oh, sorry, we don't have any fights at 55. But you can fight Cyborg. Alright, fuck it, I'll do it. We don't have any fights at 55, but if you want to fight, you can fight Ward. Alright, fuck it, I'll do it. You know what I mean? So now I know if I want to run for the title, make a run for the title, I think I gotta stay at lightweight and just, I guess wait until fights open up and to take them. But my main thing is trying to stay healthy so I can stay busy, because I know when I'm healthy, I'm busy. When I'm not healthy, then that, I can't fight. So, just trying to stay healthy.
I know you talked about that with me before, that you like to stay busy and you like to always have fights. So, hey, if they offered you one at the Bellator 180 pay-per-view on short notice, would you want to take that?
Of course. I hope I am healthy, and I hope somebody does get hurt. No, I hope nobody gets hurt bad, but I hope somebody does fall off that card, because that'd be an awesome card to fight at. I have family in New York, and it's the biggest card of the year, and why not?
You talk about family, and I've noticed San Bernardino in the news this week, and not for the greatest reason. So, any thoughts about that, and how has it affected your thoughts in getting ready for another fight coming up?
It's sad. It's obviously sad. It happened right down the street from the high school I graduated from. So it kind of hit home, because it's like, dude, what if I never moved out of there and my daughter was older, some idiot came into school like that, and it just, it's scary. It's scary knowing that shit like that happens. And there's people out there that are obviously sick in the head and can't handle life, and they do shit like that. And, it's scary to think about it, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let anything get in my way of my focus for this fight, because I have one goal, and the goal is to go out there and just win this fight, and that's what I plan on doing.
Absolutely. But I also found it really strange that story kind of got pushed to the back burner on the news this week in light of a guy getting dragged off a plane.
Yeah, there's always reasons behind the media and stuff going on. They have their stuff they want to push for their own reasons, and there's reasons why they cover up stuff. I try not to get too involved because you're not going to win. You know what I mean? You can know the truth about everything, and nobody will believe you because the media is showing something else. So I try not to get involved with the media. I mean,
but one thing I did think of when I saw the United story is, boy, they better not ever try that with an MMA fighter because they wouldn't drag him off the plane.
Oh no. I was thinking that too. So I was like, what if that dude knew something, you know? But you never know. Maybe the guy was like, screw it. You know, they're beating me up and all these people are recording and he's about to get paid.
Yeah, he probably will.
he
may not be getting the size of the check you'll get from Bellator, but he'll probably get a little bit from United to settle.
He'll get something.
So, speaking of which, you know what? Are we ever going to see like a performance bonus? Because you've had some of the most spectacular finishes, and they never announce performance bonuses, but I'd love to see some.
Oh man, I would love them. But I know when I had asked about them, they kind of broke it down to me, and it kind of made sense. Like, dude, if we start giving out bonuses, which you know they need to get a sponsor for, and if they do, they said do the math. Let's say they have 50 shows a year, and they're giving out $150,000 each fight, so 3 bonuses at $50,000. $150,000 each fight times 50 fights a year. Think about how much money they have to give away to make that happen. So when they kind of broke that down to me, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of a lot of money. But I mean, you do have these big sponsors that pay a lot of money like that for advertising, for sponsors. So, you know, go out there and get one of those sponsors and make it happen. You know, we can use it.
Right. And you know what? With going to pay-per-view, they're going to be pulling in some more money, too. So that might open that up a little bit for if you're on a Bellator pay-per-view, there's more options now.
True that.
One more time before we wrap it up today, I want to get your closing thoughts on Ryan Quinn and what your plans are to do to him when you get inside that Bellator cage at the Mohegan Sun.
I think he's game. You know, I think he's going to come out and he's going to fight. You know, eventually try to take it to the ground. But I have some things for him, and anytime he gets close to me, I'm going to let him have it. So you guys are going to see a great fight. You know, you're going to see it's going to be the best fight on the card. I can almost guarantee that, you know, unless he runs from me, which I don't think he is. He hasn't ran from anybody yet. So you're going to see a really good fight, and I'm about to put my name back on the map and then make my way towards that title.
And what better chance to do it than on Strauss versus Pitbull 4? It's the 4th time. That's a heck of a card to be on.
yeah, that's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a good fight, but I'm going to go out there. I'm going to steal the show.
All right. Well, we've just made it official here. Not only have we made it official that it's a catchweight, a 165, but that Saad Awad plans to go out there and steal the show from Strauss and Pitbull. So everybody should be looking forward to that on April 21st. And like I always do, Saad, before I let you go, any closing plugs?
No, just thank you to guys like you that put us in interviews because help get our names out there. Because it's kind of hard unless you're some flamboyant guy, you know, that's, you know, making a lot of noise doing stupid shit. It's kind of hard to get your name out there. So many fighters are out here. So just thank you to you for having me. Thank you for my gym for, you know, being by my side, and, you know, my wife for having my back. You know, I'm ready to come fight.
Well, that's what we like, and that's why I do these interviews, because you don't do the stupid shit outside. You do the damage inside, and you make memorable moments in Bellator. So thank you for that and for the time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.